but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. I have kissed honeyed lips, felt the healing fingertips. It burned me like fire, with fire, this burning desire. I have spoken with the tongue of angels. I have held the hand of the devil. We swarm in the night, as cold as a stone. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. I believe in kingdom come, when all the colors will bleed into one, bleed into one. But yes, I'm still running. You broke the bonds and loosed the chain, carried the cross of my shame. You know I believe it, but I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. I have climbed the highest mountain. I have run through the fields only to be with you. Only to be with you. Just to be with you. I have run. I have scaled these city walls. Only to be with you. Only to be with you. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. I'm running, I still haven't found what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Thank you. Thank you so much.
In the ever-shifting waters of the river of this life, I was swimming, seeking comfort. I was wrestling waves to find a boulder I could cling to, a stone to hold me fast, where I'd let the fretful waters of this river around me pass. And so I found an anchor, a blessed resting place, a trusty rock I called my Savior, for there I would be safe from the river and its dangers, and I proclaim my rock divine, and I prayed to it protect me, and the rock replied, God is a river, not just a stone. God is a wild raging rapids and a slow meandering flow. God is a deep and narrow passage, a peaceful sandy shore. God is a river swimmer, so let go. Still I clung to my rock tightly, with conviction in my arms, never looking at the stream to keep my mind from thoughts of harm. But the river kept on coming, kept on tugging at my legs, till at last my fingers faltered and I was swept away. So I'm going with the flow now, these relentless twists and bends, acclimating to the motion and a sense of being led. And this river is like my body now, it carries me along through the ever-changing scenes and by the rocks that sing this song. God is a river, not just a stone. God is a wild raging rapids and a slow meandering flow. God is a deep and narrow passage, a peaceful sandy shore. God is a river swimmer, so let go. God is the river swimmer, so let go. Thanks, John.
Good morning, y'all. Thanks for being here. We are talking about what we are going to do for our Christmas day, whether we're having a service or not, so please stay posted about that stuff. It remains to be decided, okay? This is a church that's based on what? Covenant rather than creed. We don't have to think alike to so whoever you are, whatever your age, race, origin, orientation, background, status, ability, identity, or spiritual inclinations, you are welcome. You are welcome here. I know that some of the things that the congregational response just did probably didn't translate onto the internet, but we'll get better about that too. We are still a hybrid in process. But I want to thank all of you for being here, and we want to share a little bit of information before we kick off the spirit of worship. So our BPOD today is Rebecca Tuggle, our treasurer, and she is on her way up here. BPOD stands for Board Person of the Day.
Thank you, Barbara. It's just easier to shorten it, and it sounds kind of cute, so we like it. All right, so December's Volunteer of the Month. To me, she evokes that great line from Midsummer Night's Dream. Though she be but little, she is fierce. Because Eva Kate Peck is very fierce indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, our December Volunteer of the Month. Now, you're not so little anymore, so don't take that derogatory. I did not mean it that way, okay? Blame Shakespeare for that one. She's already determined to make the world a better place, and she does this by organizing fundraisers like the middle and high school classes cookie drive, where they raised over $400 for Hope House, and I think that deserves a round of applause. But y'all see her almost every week up here helping to lead the children's chalice lighting. She's led meditations, both virtual services and here in person. You do a lot, and I'm going to leave a little bit for everybody that's going to come up after me, you know, in the following weeks, because I don't want to take it all. But our Volunteer of the Month, let's give her a hand again, ladies and gentlemen, Eva Kate Peck. Our giveaway, the plate for December, is Northwest Louisiana Interfaith, and a reminder that Taste of Interfaith is today. But Interfaith brings together multiple faiths across this region who help work on social justice matters, they work on legislative matters, work on improving the lives of all people in this region in some form or another. And we do work with them quite a bit, and we do promote them, and hope to goodness they promote us too. But anyway, that's who we're, any non-pledge donations that are given, and of course we have our baskets at the back of the church. We no longer pass them around, so please feel free to drop your offering in there. But that is what we do. We take up all of that non-pledge contribution and we give that to our giveaway the plate for the month. So Northwest Louisiana Interfaith, and if you can make it to Taste of Interfaith, it's always a good time, and there's always really good food, so just encouraging that. Our pledge drive, we're trying to get it underway. I'm going to have some help from Bennett, thank goodness, because he is my tech guru. But I've got the pledge forms at least. I do have pledge forms. They are in the foyer on the tables either side of the entrance to here, so please pick one up. Make a pledge. This is how we keep this place going. We need approximately $150 a year in order to keep this church going, and we definitely need your help with that. So please, in whatever form, it's like, you know, like they like to say on NPR, nothing is too small, okay? Any donation is worthy. Please give. We appreciate you giving. We appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Susan Caldwell. I'm the Director of Religious Education here, and I just wanted to piggyback on Rebecca saying that this afternoon is Taste of Interfaith. It's at Morning Star Baptist Church from 3 to 5 p.m. That's at 5340 Juella, and we'll have all that on Facebook too. We still have 9 tickets that we All Souls bought 3 tables at the event, and we have a lot of the tickets are spoken for, but we do have 9 that are not. And so if you are interested, they're paid for. If you want to pay Barbara or me back, we will not refuse. We will graciously accept. But it's not necessary, really. If you want to go, don't let money be an obstacle. All right? Just talk to one of us, and we'll hook you up. Thanks.
It's probably a good time to catch your breath. What do you think? Relax a little bit. Let your spirit show up where your feet are. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. You up for that? Letting your light shine? Can you find your light? Do you know how to make your light shine? It's really a talent. It's a skill, and it's one we have to develop, right? Unless, of course, you're in love, and then you just kind of shine anyway. But so how is it with your soul? This is a question that John Wesley, an Anglican priest who became the founder of Methodism, was known to ask the participants in small reflection groups. If your response to that question right now, how is it with your soul, is anything like mine, I invite you to pause and take a few deep breaths. Feel the force of gravity that pulls us all towards a common center. Feel that rootedness and connection. And then hear this. You are loved beyond belief. You are enough. You are precious. Your work and your life matter. And you are not alone. You're part of a we, a great cloud of witnesses, living and dead, who have insisted that this beautiful, broken world of ours is a blessing worthy of both deep gratitude and fierce protection. Our ancestors and our descendants are beckoning us, compelling us onward toward greater connection, greater compassion, greater commitment to one another and to the earth. Together, we are resilient and resourceful enough to say yes to that call, to make it our life's work in 1,000 different ways, knowing that we can do no other than bind ourselves more tightly together and throw ourselves into the holy work of showing up. Again and again. To be part of building that world of which we dream, but which we have not yet seen. So now, if you will, please respond with the words when it's time. We travel this road together. From the busyness of every day, we gather once a week to remember who we are, to dream who we might become. We travel this road together as companions on this journey. We share the milestones we meet along the way. Individual moments of joy and sorrow become shared moments of comfort and celebration. We travel this road together. We share this journey across differences of belief and opinion because we value diversity and because we care for one another. We travel this road together. Today, as we take part in the next steps, let us notice our fellow travelers, the burdens that they carry, the songs that inspire their hearts, and know that they notice us as well. We travel this road together. As we gather in beloved community, let us open the holy havens of our hearts. Let us share the sacred places of our souls. For we are pilgrims who in part share a common path. We travel this road together. The first part of our chalice lighting will appear magically on the screen. And we invite you to join us in that.
We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving heart. Together, with mind, hands, and heart, we care for the earth and for each other.
So we light this chalice, symbol of our faith. Blessed is the fire that burns deep in the soul. It's the flame of the human spirit touched into being by the mystery of life. It's the fire of reason, the fire of compassion, the fire of community, the fire of justice, the fire of faith. It is the fire of love burning deep in the human heart, the divine glow in every life. For the gift of this day and for our community of spiritual nurture and compassion, we give thanks. May our many sparks meet and merge in the communion of heart and soul. Would you please rise in body or spirit and say with me the unison affirmation, which also magically appears on the screen. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the sacred. Thus do we covenant with each other. Our opening hymn is With Heart and Mind, and I invite Miss Susan to move to the piano and her substitute to help us with the lyrics. May we this time and place transcend to make our purpose understood, a mortal search for mortal good, a firm commitment to the goal of justice, freedom, peace for all, a mind that's free to seek the truth, a mind that's free in age and youth, to choose a path no threat impedes, wherever light of conscience leads. Our martyrs died so we could be a church where every mind is free, a heart that's kind, a heart whose search makes love the spirit of the church, where we can grow and each one's gift is sanctified and spirits lift, where every door is open wide for all who choose to step inside. Please be seated. I'd like to invite our volunteer of the month to share with us a meditation this morning. Where would you like to do it from? Ava, do you want to do it here or there, or choose? Here? Okay. You want the pedestal?
Good morning. Let's meditate together. Sit comfortably where you are and close your eyes. If you don't want to close your eyes, focus your eyes on something in the room. We'll start with a few deep breaths. Place your hand on your stomach, and while you breathe, feel your stomach go in and out like a balloon. Take a moment to feel yourself sitting in the chair, or on the couch, or on the floor. Wherever you are, take a moment to notice Earth's gravity holding you, supporting you, and connecting you to the Earth and to others who live on her. Bring to mind a symbol or idea from your own spiritual or religious tradition that brings you comfort and gives you direction. Think about what it means in your life and how it connects you to what matters. Now think about a person who has had a positive influence on your own spiritual path. Someone who has guided you, mentored you, or set an example towards which you like to strive. Think about what they have meant in your own life and how their life has mattered to you. Now think about ideas or beliefs from a religious tradition that you perceive as unlike your own, or that is difficult or painful to you. Notice the feeling that it brings up for you. What do they feel like in your body? What kind of thoughts come up when you feel them? Now think of those who practice that tradition that is difficult for you. Try to imagine what their faith and its practices may have provided for them, what meaning it may have for their lives. What do you wish for them? What small acts of kindness could you extend to them? Send them loving kindness. If this doesn't seem possible for you, begin with the loving kindness for yourself. You may now open your eyes.
I still believe, though it's hard now, helps me to find some things that will lead me away from doubt. A conscious choice to try and find a calmer voice, remembering the softer place, like the smile on my mama's face. I still believe, in the middle of my darkest days, I promise myself not to lose my way, at least not for long. That's why I sat down to write this song. It's a conscious choice to try and find my higher voice. And I won't look away from all the trouble in the world today. What makes my heart sink? Mostly it's just the weight of the darker things that I think. So it's a conscious choice to try and find my loving voice and stay in the softest place, for there lies a saving grace. I still believe, even if it's harder now. Even if it's harder now.
Frederick Buechner said, "Unbelief is as much of a choice as belief is. What makes it in many ways more appealing is that whereas to believe in something requires some measure of understanding and effort, well, not to believe doesn't require much of anything at all." I hope you'll believe something sustaining. Help me sing the children out, please. Go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. My story may not be like yours. Still, I'm hoping somewhere along this brief telling of some parts of mine, it will have some familiar notes. Perhaps not. But I hope something will ring true for you. Perhaps not. And if you hear a strident contrast with your own tale and experiences, then I hope we can find occasion to share more of our stories with one another and look for where the commonalities are. As many of you know, I grew up in what I suppose was a conservative, relatively mainstream Christian tradition or denomination. As a child, I'm pretty sure it was somewhere around my 6th year, I joined the church. That's what we called it. Making a profession of faith is another way to call that. In actuality, a friend of mine had been baptized very recently, and I thought, well, if he can do that, so can I. I knew all the right answers to the questions. I listened in Sunday school. I sang along with all the hymns. And so, I had listened to the Bible stories, and I was enthusiastic in what I heard in big church because I could repeat pieces of it. I had not had any sort of conversion experience or, something speaking to my heart and asking me to change my life. But because I said I wanted to join the church, my parents contacted the minister. The minister came to the house, had a conversation with me, at which I did indeed answer the questions correctly. And shortly thereafter, I was baptized. It was simply a matter of information, that stage in my religious development, and had nothing to do with an awakening or a quickening. So at that point, I was a believer, sort of. Fast forward to high school, I was in choir at church. This was a big deal. A considerable percentage of my friends also attended our church because those were the families that we ran with when we weren't at school, or, we did everything with all these same people. There were those who didn't attend the same church that I did, but I would invite them in because we were doing all kinds of cool stuff. We were getting to play music, and we were, there was a gymnasium at the church, and we could, skate and play basketball, and there were sports teams, and we had pizza nights, and we went on out-of-state trips with very few chaperones. And besides, I understood it at that point, or as I understood it at that point, Jesus loved everyone. It was a Christian tradition. Jesus loved everyone. If people weren't a part of a church, they needed to come to mine. It was a good place to be, and they were welcome. So that's what I thought. About that same time, one of my best friends started reading the Tao Te Ching. Now, I thought this was very cool, but it was way over my head, entirely too abstract for where I was in my development at that point. But then this guy in the choir, who also happened to be the best guitar player and had a really soulful voice, introduced me to things that change how you think. Now, in the profound conversations that we had under that influence, he began to ask questions about the party line of the tradition I was in. I hadn't thought about that before. If this, then this. If this is true, then how can that be true? I mean, and so I have said on many occasions, were it not for those things that make you think differently and the influence of people that were smarter than I was, I wonder often if I would still be in that tradition and pulling the same information. Now, most of you got to those questions if you grew up in a traditional Christian church, and many of you did not. But if you did grow up in a more mainstream Christian church, you got to those questions on your own. You didn't need that outside help. You were smarter than me all along. I needed help. I trusted those people. I still think a great deal of many of those people. They are very dear to me and to my memory. But that did change my course a little bit with the help of a choir director who made some decisions that really hurt people I cared about. And so what I thought was true about everybody would be welcome wasn't being practiced in that particular institution, in that particular instance. And all of those pieces falling together, I became an unbeliever, sort of. So I was a believer, sort of, an unbeliever, sort of. I was still a child of the 70s. Yes, I'm old. And I believed that love was the answer. But what I understood love to mean was really different than what I thought other people thought love was. And so I remember sitting writing on a cocktail napkin, home is just another word for heaven, and heaven is the haven of our dreams. There was more after that, but I don't remember what it was. But I thought that I had this message that needed to be shared with all kinds of people because I got it. I had the answer. I knew how it worked, and it could all be just fine if everybody saw it like me and didn't believe all this other stuff. Well, when I moved to the West Coast, I thought I would be saving all sorts of people from darkness because I grew up in the South and we knew that everybody on the West Coast were heathens. Well, there I met people from all sorts of religious traditions and spiritual traditions, wonderful people, beautiful spirits. And some of them were Rosicrucians, followers of Sai Baba, New Age psychics, mystics, liberal Jews, pagans, all teaching me more about love and kindness and the brokenness of the world and other layers of life that I had not considered or experienced or understood. In a new way, but still with an old framework, I again became a believer, sort of. Fast forward again, I moved back to Shreveport. I went to school at Centenary College and was studying religion, and the religious department there had a speaker come named Mary Daly. Mary Daly had written a book called Beyond God the Father. Now, she was a radical feminist, had written a dictionary that took things like dick out of the word. She made a wikidary to replace the dictionary. And she changed anything that seemed to have a male preference in the language to something that favored feminism. In her book, not that one, but Beyond God the Father, she talked about needing to throw away all the things that you were taught about religion and find your way from the ground up so that you know what's true for you. Know what you believe rather than what somebody else gave you. I tried to do that. Now, she had taught at a Catholic seminary, had taught priests how to be priests but wasn't allowed to be one, which is why she had become such a radical feminist. Anyway, while I was at Centenary, I was beginning to see things in systems other than just this little factoid or that little factoid. And it started in my religious studies, it started to dawn on me that what I had been taught as a kid was that, and I've said this here before, God gave God's Son to pay God ransom for what God's creations did wrong. So, I became an unbeliever, sort of. You keeping track of all these changes here, isn't it? Now, you see, since cancer, since meditation, since beginning to try to listen I've discovered how empty being an unbeliever was in ways that I could not fathom until they were filled. I have a hot and cold relationship with the sense of something there. But I'm able to remember even when I can't connect what it feels like. In this rediscovery, I've found new ears for old lessons. This morning in the adult religious education class, one of the instructors was talking about a book that reframed ideas like Trinity in a way that are embraceable even to Unitarian Universalists. It's not God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit the way that churches taught, but it's a sense of something vast that has different ways of moving in life. It's about movement and it's about relationship. Anyway, I don't hear those old lessons the same way. And for me, things that when I tried to be reasonable, intellectual about it and critique things through that manner, things that didn't make sense, I can reconcile from a perspective that does not have to be linear. I'm not asking you to follow in my footsteps, but would you believe I have again come to believe? At this point, I believe Jesus existed and did life in such a way that it altered all the systems around him and had lasting, profound effect on individuals and institutions. I believe he pointed at possibilities not commonly understood before that. I believe working within the context of any particular time in history, there are limitations to understanding that may be broadened only over time, measured in nothing shorter than generations. I believe something is there because I've felt it. There are things I've never seen exactly that I believe in, and there are things that I have seen that I do not believe. Something's there. I can feel the presence. I can bear witness to its influence. It changes me and makes me better in that changing. It deepens the whole of living for me and dials into focus things that otherwise look like they fray the very fabric of things that matter. It's not contingent on others confirming my experience. And one aspect does not have to be in rational agreement with another. So out of the last few weeks, I've talked about getting rid of hope. And I've talked about things being fine to be contradictory, and I'm still kind of back there. I believe when science walks poetically through paradox, it's divine. I believe when religion loses itself in rules narrowly defining the reality of ritual, it becomes profane. We talk often about the mystery here, but here's the thing. Mystery is not knowable. Mystery is infinitely knowable. Can you believe that? Our closing hymn is number 298. If you want to get a hymnal out, they're the hardback gray hymnals for those who would like notes, and the words will be on the screen. Please rise in body or spirit, please. Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power Wake now, my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now, my vision of business, my guide. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged place. God's love embraces the whole human race. Wake now, my vision of ministry clear. Join my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Work toward a planet transformed by our care. Cherish your doubts, for doubt is the attendant of truth. Doubt is the key to the door of knowledge. It's the servant of discovery. A belief which may not be questioned binds us to error, for there is incompleteness and imperfection in every belief. Doubt is the touchstone of truth. It's an acid which eats away the false. Let no one fear the truth, that doubt may consume it, for doubt is a testing of belief. The truth stands boldly and unafraid. It is not shaken by the testing. For truth, if it be truth, arises from each testing stronger, more secure. Those that would silence doubt are filled with fear. Their houses are built on shifting sands. But those who fear not doubt and know its use are founded on rock. They shall walk in the light of growing knowledge. The work of their hands shall endure. Therefore, let us not fear doubt, but let us rejoice in its help. It is to the wise as a staff to the blind. Doubt is the attendant of truth. Would you believe it? Is still time to question all you think you know? Come join us at Taste of Interfaith. Pick up your ticket in the office or from Susan. Vote no on Amendment 1. Vote no on Amendment 1. I'm sorry we didn't talk about that at all. So I vote your heart. But vote no on Amendment 1. Yeah. If you're here, that's probably your heart. Yeah. Something else from John Wesley. Do all the good you can by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can, but know when you can't. Take care of yourself, because you are as important as every single person you would want to help. Go in faith, go in peace. Amen. Ashe. May it be so.
friend of mine the other day, just about to cross the bridge of destruction. Oh, don't you cross that bridge. Evil's on the other side. I said, don't cross that bridge. Evil's on the other side. The righteous road is narrow and sorrow, but the road is wide. On the path of a lifetime, it's easy to backslide. Keep your eyes on the hilltop, let your conscience be your guide. Don't you cross that bridge. Evil's on the other side. The righteous road is narrow and sorrow, but the road is wide. Well, if you lie, you cheat, and if you cheat, you steal, and if you steal, well, afraid you will kill. Don't you cross that bridge. Evil's on the other side. The righteous road is narrow and sorrow, but the road is wide. If you cheat, and if you steal, and if you